Thanks, Emer. It's great to be back in Galway. It's been a while. I'd like to thank the EPA committee for the invitation to speak to you today. And what I want to go through is the sectoral action work plans, the catchment management work plans, the local authority action work plans, as well as the Catchment Community Fora, all of which together implement the Water Action Plan. As Colin has already said, the Water Action Plan is Ireland's roadmap to protect and improve our water quality to 2027. And it concentrates on improving and protecting our water body through 157 high-level actions assigned across 45 lead organisations. And many of these actions are going to be included within the sectoral action, catchment management and local authority work plans. So what I hope to focus on is how Ireland will implement and track these actions on the ground. As has been mentioned by the Minister, by Colin, we have a significant water challenge, and it is only on water pollution, but also on biodiversity loss and climate pressures. And it's collectively for us to do the work to try and improve the percentage of water bodies meeting their Water Framework Directive objectives. I believe that to address these issues, we need integrated, transparent, participatory action. And really, the title of my presentation is Tracking Action, and that means turning these plans into measurable progress. As I've said already, there are 3 different plans required under the Water Action Plan. The Sectoral Action Work Plan is at a national scale. The Catchment Management Work Plan, as its name suggests, is at catchment scale, with water body-specific actions and measures identified. The Local Authority Action Plan is at county or local authority scale. The Catchment Community Fora, which I'll go through in a bit more detail later, will operate at catchment scale and will be of assistance when identifying and implementing local scale measures. I see that all of these together will enable this local delivery, track progress, and have the engagement with stakeholders. The sectoral action work plans are roadmaps for each of the sectors to address their sector-specific pressures at a national scale. So we've agriculture, forestry, wastewater, and what I think is most important is that they'll be public-facing. They will include characterization outcomes, policies, objectives, and actions, as well as key performance indicators to ensure that the sectors are no longer significant pressures on at-risk water bodies, but also, as Colin said, we don't want our good water bodies to deteriorate, so they also have a protect function. LawPro are engaged with each of the organizations involved in developing the 7 sectoral plans over the last year and co-designed a template which was used to prepare the plans. And I want to now acknowledge the collaborative efforts by all of the implementing bodies in developing this over the last year. The focus in the sectoral action work plans is on the actions assigned to each of the sectors within the Water Action Plan, but there is scope for additional actions to be included where necessary. The 7 sectors that are subject to the sectoral action plans are agriculture, hydromorphology, forestry, urban wastewater, peat, drinking water source protection, and invasive alien species. And drinking water source protection, while not a pressure in itself, will provide for reporting on the progress on the development of the risk assessments and management plans required under the drinking water regulations, and will highlight areas where measures are required to protect our drinking water sources. So that integration between the Water Framework Directive and the Drinking Water Directive is seen in this plan. The plans are being peer-reviewed by the department, by the EPA, and ourselves before being published on the department's website. Ishgaren has already been through this peer review process, and their plans are currently on their website, and the link is on the screen. The catchment management work plans are localised plans at water body scale, integrating the actions from the sectoral action work plans, the local authority actions from the work plans, but also including the work that's done under the recommended minimum criteria for environmental inspection. And in time, we'll have community input. There are 5 pilot catchments that LawPro have identified. That's the Boyne in the Midlands and East, the Slaney in the southeast, Galway Bay southeast in the west, the Mel Bay in the southwest, and the Newry Féin Glyden in the border region. And the EPA are using the Barrow catchment to test data collection and analysis. So LawPro are going to collaborate with the EPA and the department to prepare the catchment management plan, work plans for these 5 pilot catchments this summer, with a view to having a template published in Q4 for the rollout to the remaining 41 catchments. And I think really at this scale, we can ensure that there is localized action and accountability, because all of these will be published for the public. The catchment management work plans will include the catchment characteristics, the sectoral measures by water body. So each water body will have a list of actions depending on the pressures on that water body to address the at-risk water bodies, but also to protect areas requirements as well. But what's most important, that it will also assess the impact of those actions and associated timelines for delivery of those actions. The progress will be tracked by the regional committees and the EPA, with oversight by the new Programme Delivery Office. But what is key for any plan is that there is an evaluation of the implementation reporting by the sectors and local authorities, an analysis of the effectiveness of the measures implemented, and reporting in a transparent way back to the public. The Local Authority Water Action Plan, as I mentioned, is at county scale, and in my mind are really a hybrid between the sectoral and the catchment management work plans, in that they will operate at both the local authority and water body scale. They will outline the local authority roles and responsibilities in terms of the Water Framework Directive obligations, and will support better alignment with their existing reporting under the recommended minimum criteria for environmental inspections. LawPro is establishing a working group with local authorities and the EPA to co-design a template in Q4 for rollout in 2026. There are also opportunities, as the Minister highlighted, the link with the water actions in the local authority biodiversity and climate action plans. And while the planning aspects are going to be at local authority or county scale, tracking will be at site or water body scale, and will use the existing reporting structures, such as those for the inspections under the National Agricultural Inspections Plan to the EPA. All of the plans will highlight the benefits and co-benefits for water quality, biodiversity, and climate resilience. It is important to recognise these synergies and to have an integrated approach for Ireland. LawPro has been assigned a task to develop a climate check of the programme of measures at a catchment scale, and we will work with the department and other climate colleagues to develop a simplified climate change sensitivity analysis at catchment management work plan level. The objective is to identify measures that will be resilient to the effect of climate change and assist in the development of the 4th River Basin Management Plan. Work on this is yet to commence, so it's an exciting time ahead. In terms of tracking and data management, and I think the Minister and Colin also referred to this, tracking and data management is key to the success of these plans. Plans without tracking of actions are ineffective. We support the track as we go principle with centralised reporting over time. This will include spatial mapping of actions and outcomes and avoid duplication of reporting. So my motto is capture once and use often. It is through the capturing of the available data we will see where the data gaps are, and we are able to take steps to fill those gaps. It's really key that there's oversight and integration with all of these plans. And the new Programme Delivery Office will track on a quarterly basis and will have annual reporting on the actions within the Water Action Plan. The evaluation and monitoring of the effectiveness of these actions will continue by the EPA through their existing functions. LawPro has a coordinating and facilitation role through the local authority liaison meetings, the regional committees, and our interaction with the many stakeholders in this room. And implementation tracking by the regional committees will focus on the operational implementation issues or blockages, which will be then addressed as required through the Water Framework governance structures. As Colin has said, all of these plans will continue to evolve and undergo an iterative process to allow for improvements to be made over time. But it's important that we've started, and I think it's a great start. In terms of the Catchment Community Fora, this is a new concept introduced in the Water Action Plan, where the plan has given LawPro the responsibility to examine ways in which further supports can be provided for the formation and capacity building of local fora to help identify and implement measures. The Minister referred to the very good work of communities across the country, and us in LawPro can surely account for that or can support what he's saying. We see it on a day-to-day basis. Last year, LawPro, working with Quality Matters, who are a not-for-profit organisation working to improve social service provision in Ireland, rolled out a series of workshops in the 5 pilot catchments mentioned earlier. But in advance of the workshops, LawPro prepared a discussion document, reviewed existing public participation research commissioned by Fórum Uisce and others, and drew on our own experiences from our work and from international best practice in public participation in catchment management to inform these workshops. The workshops have a vision that will be participatory structures that bring together landowners, community groups, and NGOs. They will build capacity, share knowledge, co-design actions, and increase water literacy. And it's an intention that these fora will interact with the catchment management plan, work plans development over time. The development or the establishment of these fora is on a phase basis. Phase 1, as I mentioned, the workshops, and this was really to get the community voice, to find out what they saw was needed, and also then to provide recommendations for the framework for the future establishment of these fora. And an integrated report is currently being finalised. We've engaged with the department and on Fórum Uisce, and I thank them for that engagement, because it has to be a collective support for this new type of fora. Phase 2 will be to trial the establishment of the fora in the 5 catchments in Q3 this year, and then establish an implementation advisory group to review the pilot fora and to inform the future rollout more nationally. All of these plans won't work unless there is support and participation. It is critical that we have everyone supporting the development and implementation of the plans, but also stakeholder engagement in the development of the fora. It's been mentioned already about data sharing. We also need to have stakeholder engagement in the pilot projects, which I'm happy to say we've had so far. I'm looking forward to it continuing. We also want to align and complement the existing reporting structures, but also the other structures and fora with similar objectives like the biodiversity and climate fora, the PPN, etc. And I think all of this is building momentum for the full rollout in 2026 of the actions in the Water Action Plan. And I think all of this will make tracking action a reality. That's just highlighting the timeline of the development of these plans. It started back when the draft River Basin Management Plan was published, and it's been ongoing last year with a lot more work being put into it this year. As Colin mentioned, the Programme Delivery Office will track actions quarterly, starting in Q3 this year, and plan on producing annual reports covering up to Q4 2025, which will be available by Q2 2026. I won't go through the list there, but it'll be on your screen after, or on the slides afterwards. So in terms of next step for LawPro, it obviously, collaboration is core to what we do in LawPro, and we're going to collaborate with the EPA and the department on the development of the catchment management work plan template through the preparation of the 5 pilot work plans. We'll work with the local authorities and the EPA on the development of the local authority work plan template and trial the establishment of the Catchment Community Fora in the 5 pilot catchments. But also in parallel to all this work that we've been doing on the sectoral action plans, catchment management work plans, etc., we've also been helping to build community capacity through the administration on behalf of the department of the Catchment Support Fund of almost €1 million this year. We also administer and have oversight of approximately €1.1 million worth of medium to large scale projects through the Community Water Development Open Call, where communities are delivering on water quality outcomes. We're also building capacity in the evolving nature-based solutions space through the development of guidance and training, as well as a successful conference last week in Dundalk. We're working with the Local Authority National Training Group to build local authority capacity through a training needs analysis and preparation of a training plan for the natural waters area. Our catchment science team are continuing to do their work to inform the right measure in the right place, and our Blue Dots program are highlighting the importance of protecting our most pristine water bodies. The Farming for Water EIP is administering the funding for agricultural measures identified through the ASAP program, and all of which we couldn't do without our technical and administrative staff. So I really think that momentum is building, and collectively we can bring about the water quality outcomes that are needed. Thank you.